3 years of working on a project. Who are you, Pink Floyd?
Hello, yeah, that's right. Axl Rose. Um, I have been calling it Chinese democracy the entire time. Um, so yeah, well, it's basically because it's such a ridiculous project, such an absurdly, that one person could attempt this. That's sort of why it's taken so long. And I mean, I haven't finished it yet. Like I'm just doing the crowdfunding, starting the crowdfunding tomorrow, and um, but I had to get to this point before I could say anything to anyone apart from my long-suffering wife and friends, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. In fact, I still slightly don't know, but I'm banking now that I'll be able to pull something off.
Now,
So
explain, is it coming under the Damian Cowell name? And also, from my understanding of it, there's an album, potentially a double album, and an animated series to go along with this.
yeah, that's right. Yep. It's yeah. So it'll be, I guess it'll be called Damian Cowell's Disco Machine, which is what I go under lately. The last couple of albums have been called that. But the actual campaign, the Pozible page will be just my name. And yeah, it was a double concept album, which, when you think about it, is really, in this modern era of bite-sized chunks of music being consumed on streaming services as part of playlists, it's incredibly irrelevant of me to come out with a double concept album. And so I had to find some way of telling the story that was that I could afford to do, or that sort of suited it. And of course, I came up with the idea of it being like a comic book. In the page of the comic book, inside the frames, the people come alive, like the paintings in Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the sort of thing, and it's a YouTube series. So each episode of the series is a song, and it builds up to tell this ridiculous story.
So, what is the
That's
ridiculous story?
Well, it's called Only the Shit You Love, and it's a love story of sorts set in a dystopia, which is rather hauntingly exactly like the world we live in. To me, it's sort of Only the Shit You Love actually applies to life as we know it, because of the way our experiences are being curated for us by some um, mega rich corporations. So everything, the songs we like, the clips we choose, the TV shows we watch, the news that we get, the opinions we read, it's all, if you want to take that kind of sinister worldview, is all being curated behind the scenes according to our tastes, supposedly. The story is basically just my usual nonsense about, each song has its own story, and it's linked by this kind of, that's the sort of carpaccio of idea, and then there's this red wine jus over the top of a love story, I guess. But really, it's music, Paul. That's what it is. It's just it's a way of kind of packaging my sing-along anthemic dance floor pop songs in a way that kind of is interesting to the eye. It's not all sinister, because it ends on a song called "You Shit Me But I Love You," which is my anthem for the times, and it's proposing this really dangerous and radical concept called tolerance, which of course will never fucking hit off, But so yeah, it's a happy story in the end.
So, You Shoot Me But I Love You will join other Damien Cowell classics like I Wish I Was Tex Perkins. Pauline Hanson says there's Christian Muslims too, and I Still Call Australia Ho.
Yeah, that's right. I'm all about the song title, Paul. I actually struggle when it comes to finishing the job. Yeah.
We've seen you under many personas over the decades as Humphrey B. Flaubert. Is that how I pronounce that
Mm.
one? DC Root in the DC3, Damian Cowell's Disco Machine, as you mentioned before, Root, and of
Mm.
course that famous Root song, I'm the Drummer from TISM, which sort of gave the game away,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, it was always a difficult thing when I stopped playing that guy who was in that band and started playing me. To how do I go about this? And I tried to hide it for a while, but of course, thanks to Wikipedia and everything, if you really wanted to find out who I was, you sort of could. And plus, it was complete and utter career suicide, because who gives a fuck about some middle-aged guy, writing songs and doing shows? But the minute you mention what you used to be involved in, that suddenly people pay attention. So, it was really difficult, and I was trying to be respectful to the past, and I quite like the fact that that TISM is shrouded in mystery, and I have no desire to unlock that door. But at the same time, I just got sick of chasing my tail, trying to kind of deny or also confirm at the same time. So I went, fuck it, I'll just write a song where I say I was the guy in TISM, and it was my attempt to sort of get that all out of the way in one little 3-minute slab. I don't know whether it made any difference to anybody, but so yeah, I still tread that fine tightrope. But I've been me now, Paul, for 20 years nearly. So that's really what.
I've
That's
been
really
me
what's
for 20
interesting to me.
years. What a line. That's
right.
almost a song title.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, yep. I reckon that could be on my gravestone, along with there lies Damian Cowell. He made a feature of his limitations. That was the other one.
Yes. Well, TISM were way ahead of their time, weren't they? You're all wearing masks in the 90s. Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. The Masked Singer, of course. I had lots of. I very quickly tired of the emails I was getting when that show started coming out. So, yep. Being ahead of your time usually means that you're a total pain in the arse, I think, and I think that's pretty much sums up what TISM was.
Mm. Well, you almost, not you almost, you actually did have two hit songs in He'll Never Been an Old Man River and Greg the Stop Sign. So for a moment in time, you were pop stars.
Yeah, if you could if you could describe that as pop stardom, yes. I suppose that's true. In the terms of mainstream media, there was a lot of TISM being shoved down people's throats, but yeah, fortunately, it didn't last too long, and the TISM thing went back under the rock of cult, where it remained.
Well, there's some activity at the moment. Are you involved in any of that?
Well, that's actually the work of the wonderful David Williams, who's a very romantic guy who believes in things like legacy and history and the past and honouring the past. So he has done a mountain of work, getting that sort of whole thing together, and a wave of nostalgia has resulted. So for those people who do like to live in the 90s, I think it's very exciting for them. I personally don't give a fuck, but it's made a lot of people happy, I think, from judging from the reaction. So, yeah.
Mm. Well, in the meantime, this new project, when do you think we will see the new project?
So the crowdfunding begins tomorrow. So it's on Pozible, and it's by nature has a 2-month run time. So we get to the end of that, it takes us through to mid-Jan, and if I get I'm not asking for much. I just just need a little bit of money to finish recording the tracks, and I'm hoping to get a bit more. But I don't want to be a prick and come asking people for money right now when things are a bit tough. But all things considered, and that goes well, we're sort of looking at March to start off with the first episode. But Paul, that means the clock is ticking for me, and so I am starting just to quietly shit myself about that, because I haven't quite finished yet. I've got a long way to go, but I'd like to think that it's this sort of exponential curve. So I got the basic idea of animation, and I sort of got my graphic art skills together. And as you go on, it gets easier and easier. So I'm hoping that I'll at least be able to be one episode ahead of everyone else when they're watching it. We'll see how we go. But anyway, I've put my beer gut out over my shorts. It's ready for everyone to perv at.
Yes. Well, we look forward to seeing this eventuate. Very fascinating to talk to you, Damian.
Thanks a lot, Paul, and I really appreciate you you giving me some time. And let's see how we are in a year's time. I may be huddling in a corner somewhere, perhaps.